Dear Hungry Man, I'm writing in because even though your meals are delicious, there is one huge glaring disappointment. Your sawmill gravy is so plentiful, I can't help but want to get it all in me. The problem is, there's not a mechanism to do that. May I humbly request white bread?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Tether Radio Podcast, the only podcast keeping you from spiraling out into the infinite abyss. This is episode 23, and I am Daniel, coming at you from Knox Vegas, as always, and I am joined by my brother and co-host, Joseph.
23. Hey, you know what?
What's up?
Say it like you fucking mean it.
Hello, Tether listeners.
Hey, everybody! Welcome back to another smoking hour.
It's pee-pee in the butt. What is it called?
No, it was weenie in the butt.
Weenie in the butt.
the Family Guy thing.
Yeah, I love it.
Weenie
in the butt. What?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, Seth MacFarlane's a genius.
It's so good. Because like the little like segment just goes on so long. It's like, God, it's great. Anyway, so yeah, dude. What did you have a good week?
Cruising, dude. Cruising. Yeah, man. Just doing the damn thing, reading the news, understanding the fragile state of the world. It's good. It's good. I did build an ad blocker. Did I tell you this?
Yeah. But dude, do a recap because it's worth mentioning.
So I'll keep it short. But long story short, I have been chatting with a group that does. I mean, I think maybe white hat hacking might be a slight overreach, but that's kind of what they're doing. But anyway, I've been chatting with this group about their technology and just kind of their tech stack, what they're working on. And so, long story short, there's a lot of malicious software that's hidden in ads, right? Mm-hmm. And so, anyway, I just started thinking about it when I was on the train the other day, and I was like, I'm going to build an ad blocker. Mm-hmm. So what I'm working on here is called Ad Luce, like a luchador. And basically what it does is it blocks ads, and when it blocks an ad, it serves you up a quote from a pro wrestler. So there's some good ones, man. There's some really, really good pro wrestler quotes. And so anyway, built that. It was pretty cool. Did it.
Think I'm cute. I know I'm sexy.
Yeah, dude. It's God, I mean, it's crazy, man. Like the professional wrestling's fucking huge.
Yeah, I don't think I realized how big pro wrestling was, but
and it's still big.
Yeah.
Right? Like I thought it was
basically a man's soap opera.
Yeah, man. Yeah. You know, I mean, there's just like here's one, the Boogeyman. He says, "I'm the Boogeyman. I'm coming to get you." Let's see, The Godfather. It's time once again to get aboard the hoe train. Let's see.
I know that I would want to be served that shit up when ads are being blocked.
Yeah, I mean it's just that part's just for shits. I don't know that the user experience would be, the best. Like here's one. "This is a slobber knocker." Here's another one from the Dudley Boys. "What's up?"
The Dudley Boys.
Here's one. Val Venus. "Hello, ladies." Let's see. "Ow, have mercy. I'm not a nugget."
What the fuck?
Yeah. "If I can be serious for a moment." Dude, some of these are great. Here's one. "Indeed." It's me. It's that double. It's that D-O-double-G. That's what Road Dogg says.
Road Dogg. I don't even know who the hell Road Dogg is.
Yeah, me either, dude. Yeah, that's pretty much. Holla if you hear me. That's a good one. Bang bang. You suck. You suck. And
no, what's your slogan or whatever? The about. What was the thing that you told me? You're like blocking ads off the turnbuckle or something?
yeah. That's what it is. It's Ad Luce blocking ads off the turnbuckle. So anyway, it's just for shits, but we'll see. I might publish it in the Google store. It's just a Chrome extension, so we'll see. But how was your week, man?
It was good, man. It was it kind of got a little hectic toward the end, but I'm still here and I'm alive, and yeah, that's about it, man. Like,
God, dude, that sounds like sounds like you're being interviewed after like a fucking catastrophe on Mount Everest. Yeah, man, things got tough. I'm here. I'm alive.
Lost a few fingers, but
you're like a football coach. I was talking to somebody
the interviews,
dude. I love that shit. It is. These people are so talented in fucking saying things and not saying anything.
Yeah.
How did you feel the game went out there, Coach? We went out and we put our uniforms on and we ran out onto the field, and there was a ball out there and we played with it. And, we moved it back and forth up and down the field, and, we kicked it and we threw it, and,
we had to score more points, it was a victory, but,
that second quarter was tough because, their team was out there too. And they were trying to keep us from what we were doing. And, you can watch game film, but it's just never as real as when you get out on the field. Next question.
Yeah.
It's just like,
thank you.
It's like, what did you just say?
Yeah.
Okay, Anyway. So cool, man. Well, we've got the Thanksgiving holiday here around the corner. Ah ha ha, he. School is out for you and me. We can put our books away. It's Thanksgiving holiday. I always say that.
A turkey's Tom and a turkey mom gobble.
This time of year, I start every day with a little meditation like that.
I remember out in Granger around the holidays, around Thanksgiving, they would load us onto a bus, and we would go to the one retirement home out there. And we would sing songs for these for people for a half hour, and then we'd go eat pizza. Did you ever take part in that?
I did, but I think I was so jacked on Splurge that I couldn't.
You mean Surge?
Surge, yeah.
Splurge, jeez.
I was, I mean, yeah.
Or the Bilo equivalent of Ramp.
Ramp energy drink. Or Ramp Cola.
Ramp Cola.
Yeah, it wasn't a cola, right? It was it was like Surge, yeah. But man, I think about that. We're gonna move on here, but I think about that all the time because I'm like things have changed a lot, right? Because this was a time where you would bring 50 cents to school, and they would march you to there was a company whose business it was to put vending machines in the school that then elementary school kids would beg their parents for quarters, right? To go and buy snacks.
Yep.
Do you remember this?
Yep.
Right? And they would march you to the ceremoniously march you.
Yeah, it was in the cafeteria, to the side of the cafeteria.
That's exactly right. And everybody got to buy a Coke.
Yeah.
What? Because I can remember kids getting stung in the mouth because they'd get out on the playground
and a bee and fly in their Coke while they're on the jungle gym.
Yeah, dude, they'd open their Coke and be wailing on the slide, and a bee would get in there, dude. Yeah,
I remember that.
So yeah, you had to swirl your drink and then dump a little out. That was the only way to be safe.
But that was when they put the surge machine in there, and they only made surges a quarter, as opposed to the other Coke products that were like 50 cents. So people would buy 2 surges and then like a snack for $1.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true.
And then they'd be bouncing off the fucking walls by like 2.
Well, and I think the sales guy that came out with that, he definitely got a promotion. He was like, oh, we accidentally charged 25 cents for surge this week. And then he like looks, and it's like this montage of him like accidentally programming the machine wrong. And then he's like, oh my God,
We've opened Pandora's box.
Double the surge sales.
Double the surge sales.
Anyway, all right. So trucking on here, man, we've got a meta article that you're opening up here with, right? This is their layers.
Oh yeah. So I pulled this one from BGR, which now that I think about it, I don't know what BGR stands for. Do you?
BGR?
Yeah, it's like a tech website, but I don't know what it stands for. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. So this article is called "Idiot Jumps into Crocodile Pit Wearing Crocs, Gets Bitten by a Croc." So imagine yourself coming into work. You work at an alligator farm in Florida, and you come in, and you're just doing your rounds, and you happen to notice that there's a pair of shorts and one lone croc, slipper or shoe, however you'd like to refer to them, laying on the floor. Okay. And so they were like, maybe it's like a prank. But then apparently they actually found a trail of blood coming out of the crocodile exhibit. And so that basically made them want to look at the security camera footage. Okay. Which I don't know. Did you look at that little clip? It looks like the dude fucking fell in the exhibit, which I don't know how you fall into these exhibits, because in the article they say that it has like, it's surrounded by barbed wire and like semi-tall like fencing.
Right.
So, but like in the video, it looks like the dude's like almost drunk or something and just happens to fall into the crocodile exhibit. But like, dude, apparently dude gets bitten. He somehow got out of the crocodile exhibit, and he was picked up by the local police, and he told them that he had been attacked by an alligator. But he wouldn't admit that he fell into this crocodile exhibit. He was just like, yeah, I got bit by an alligator.
I mean, it does not, on the video, it does not look like he falls at all, actually.
It does, really?
No, he definitely scales the side of this thing and then jumps into a tree.
Oh, dude. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't realize, because the video starts when he's already on the other side of the fence, right?
Yeah, but then he, like, runs along the thing and, like, dives in through a tree.
Yeah.
You know what's just amazing is that this guy, like, this is not a jackass stunt, right? Like, this is just a dude who's just doing this. Yeah, no one's around.
That's the thing, is like nowhere do they mention that like he was maybe intoxicated or on drugs or anything even remotely similar to that, you know?
Right.
And so, but I do love how this article started off. You've got to be, this is literally me quoting the first sentence of the article. You've got to be a special kind of stupid to jump into a pit with live crocodiles. So it should come as absolutely no surprise that the story I'm about to unpack took place in Florida.
Well, so by the way, BGR's Boy Genius Report.
Okay.
And it's like there's a dude who was like a young media savvy guy, I guess in his late teens or whatever, and started BGR. So,
well, yeah, dude, I pulled a decent bit of stuff from them, but
yeah,
anyway.
well, here's the deal, man. I mean, I don't know. You've got to be on something. You know, you've got to be having like a psychotic break. Something's got to be going on for you to get all twisted up and hop in a crock pit.
Well, plus he took his pants off, which is also weird. I feel like
that's less weird.
It's a minute detail, but
yeah. I mean, maybe he took his pants off so he could run faster. You know?
Yeah. What? Your name's Joe John? Joe Johnson.
What's your name? Joe John. Your name's Joe John? Take your pants off so I can run.
Yes. So I can. Oh yeah, it was electrical fire. Sparks everywhere. If you haven't seen,
a fucking classic. It's good.
If you have not seen Orange County and Jack Black's character in Orange County, the movie, oh my god, it's definitely worth a watch. But anyway, we'll cruise on from dummies jumping into crocodile exhibits.
to dummies being propelled. Yeah, and sexual acts propelled off of flat surfaces. So yeah. So this what's this next one? You need to read the headline, I think, before you hop in here.
Yeah, dude. So pulled this one from Sky News. Maidenhead woman catapulted from bed during sex loses damages claim. So and then just real quick, ruling it a tragic accident. A judge finds the bed was not defective, even taking into account reasonably foreseeable misuse. So this lady, who appears to be a decently sized lady, we'll say,
right?
She apparently was having sex with her partner at the time, and she fell off of a super king-sized double divan. What is that? I guess that's just is that another word for a bed?
I mean, I think that this is from the UK, right?
Yeah.
So,
but anyway, so this lady, 46-year-old, said that her bed was defective because during sex she, and I actually want to quote how. Here we go. She told the court she was kneeling in the middle of the bed when she decided to move position and swung her legs from underneath her before lying back on the bed with her head towards the bottom end. At that point, she claimed the bed gave way and she fell off the end, landing on her head. So this is actually not that funny of an article because, dude, this lady is paralyzed now. Like...
Yeah, I mean,
I'm laughing because, like, what? How the fuck do you like? Well, anyway.
Well, she looks older.
Yeah. Well, dude, 46.
And so she did buy the bed from Beds R Us, UZZ, which supplied the bed. A divan is like a couch bed type thing.
Oh, it was like What are those conversion things that you had one?
No, like a futon. Dude, a futon is a middle schooler's fucking dream.
Dude,
you know?
I just remember yours it ended up getting broken, so it was like it would only go like half into the bed form.
Yeah,
so
dude.
it was just like it was both an uncomfortable couch and an uncomfortable bed.
And a piece of shit bed. That's exactly right. But I was, man, I was trying to live that, like, pizza box on the floor college lifestyle when I was like 13,
Yeah.
Oh, studying micro all night or whatever, whatever bullshit. But yeah, man, I mean this woman is, I don't know if she's paralyzed. But yeah, my head hit the floor, it fell to the side, and then I heard like a spring in my body snap. It felt like.
I mean, it says according to the article, it says she suffered a serious injury to her spine, but they also say a woman left paralyzed after being catapulted from her new bed during sex has lost her damages claim against the supplier. So,
yeah, dude, that's a tough one, man.
This is the world we live in.
Well, it's tough.
Be careful having sex, man. Shit.
Well, that's the thing, dude. That's the
Swinging
thing.
them legs round.
That's like
round and round.
What I suggest
just
is
made me
that
think of rat.
Yeah, I hear you. But what I suggest is that, like, if you're gonna fuck like you're swinging on a pair of parallel bars, like, maybe practice a little bit.
Practice, yeah, dude. Conditioning. That's what it sounds like. The main problem is she didn't stretch out those hammies.
That's exactly right, dude. That is 100% correct. But anyway,
right.
Okay, so this next article, I actually really, really dig this article. I thought
it was very, very interesting.
Yeah, there's a Dutch guy, who is suing to change his age, right? Legally to change his age. So I went on a run with a buddy yesterday morning, and he brought this up too. So what's going on here? This guy, Emil Radelband?
Yeah, dude. So this guy, 69-year-old Dutch guy, who apparently is a positivity guru, that's interesting. I'm not really sure. It's in quotations, so yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Emil's coming over? Oh, you mean the positivity guru? Right?
Yeah, right.
Like that, like it's like, is this article making fun of him in the first 3 lines?
But yeah, dude. So this dude, he says that he doesn't feel his age, and he basically says that he's being discriminated against on Tinder because of his age. So he wants to change his age in order to get more, I guess, swipes or whatever. That's right. Kind of like his main argument. But he was quoted as saying, "When I'm 69, I'm limited. If I'm 49, then I can buy a new house, drive a different car. I can take up more work. When I'm on Tinder and it says I'm 69, I don't get an answer. When I'm 49, and with the face I have, I will be in a luxurious position."
He also described himself as a young god.
I mean, this dude's a piece of work, man, for sure.
Yeah. I feel like maybe something's lost in translation too, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There could be could be, you know what I mean? Like, it could be like, I am a young god, or like, I will feel like I will
feel young and rejuvenated or something.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so this was honestly, this exchange with the judge is kind of bizarre to me, especially how it's written. So he's talking to the judge, and the judge is like, well, let's see, the judge conceded that the ability to change gender was a development in the law. He's like, "I agree with you. A lot of years ago, we thought that was impossible." But he asked Radelband, he was like, "What?" Wait, sorry, I lost my spot. Oh yeah, he asked the applicant how his parents would feel about 20 years of Radelband's life being wiped off the records. The judge said, "For whom did your parents care? Who was that little boy then?" So this is the weird part. Radelband, this is what they wrote in the verbatim in the article. Radelband, a motivational speaker and trainer in neuro-linguistic programming, said his parents were dead.
Oh, wait, where is this? It says let's see, hold on.
Yeah, it's about halfway through the article.
Okay.
But yeah, a motivational speaker and trainer in neuro-linguistic programming said his parents were dead. What relevance does that have?
Well, it has the relevance because he says, how would your parents feel? Well,
he's like, "Oh, my parents are dead." So he's like playing like a mind game with it or something.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean,
It's just it's a strange article, to be perfectly candid with you. But
I don't see a whole hell of a lot of difference, man. I mean, I think that.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
And I'm just gonna say like we oftentimes on this show when we pull these articles in, we do research, we do kind of background on this, but we obviously just pull in other research that we've done and kind of articles in the past and whatever, and so who this guy is exactly, I'm not 100% sure, but what I do know is that or what I do think is that the point that he's making is pretty damn valid, man.
Well, it's just,
if you're allowing people to change their sex,
not sex, gender.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Let me correct that. Change their gender. Then, I mean, why not age? Right?
I mean, it's like, literally just a fucking number. I mean, like,
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, it makes sense, even though, obviously since this is, well, I haven't heard of anything else along these lines. Have you? In regards to like people, trying to basically get an age changed.
No, but it's like I was just reading a little bit about this guy. Right, this guy started his own political party in 2002. Like there might be some sort of activism kind of going on here, right? Some sort of point that he's making, kind of beyond beyond just trying to change his name, right?
Yeah.
And so
his age.
Yeah, excuse me, his age.
Yeah.
And so, like, I mean, we can imagine. I'm just on his website right now. But you can imagine him being like, you are what you say you are.
Yeah. Well, and he is a positivity guru.
Right. And I'm 20 years younger,
Yeah.
But I think it is a valid point. For people to, if you believe that people do not have a gender that is assigned
at birth,
and when I say assigned, I'm not saying by the state of California or whatever, wherever you're born. I'm saying genetically assigned.
Yeah.
If you don't believe that, which. Look, I know you and I definitely skew towards, scientific explanations of the world. And that being said, like this is indisputable. There are X chromosomes, there are Y chromosomes, and the combination of those determine your gender. Hard stop. Like that's what it is. And so if we are allowed or now, does that mean that society hasn't, advanced past that? I don't know. I have no idea, but I think he's making I think it's a great point. If you can change your gender, why not your age? Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think this guy should be able to do this?
Yeah. I mean, I don't see a reason why he shouldn't, I mean, which another side note from the article, apparently he was told by doctors that his body was that of a 45-year-old man. So,
well, on his website, he has got a scarf on that is fucking incredible, and I can't imagine anybody over 37 wearing a scarf. So, it's we're gonna post this website of Emil, yep. But so you think people should be able to change their age?
Yeah, I mean, well, so this is what I think. I think that if we are going to open that can of worms in regards to aspects of a human being, that it's not really. I mean, I think that there are definitive. Personally, I think that there are, I think this is silly, but I totally understand why someone would want to do this. And if we're going to open up that can of worms and say, hey, you know, you're born and you have a male genitalia,
right?
But you decide that you identify with females more so than males,
right?
And we are going to allow that kind of thing. Then why not this? That's kind of my thinking, you know, because it's just kind of. I think that I just think that they're similar in those regards, kind of thing, you know, that it's just like, it's one of these things that it's not, if that's what view we're going to take as a society, then why does age really matter at all?
Yes.
It's just a number.
Yes. So it's, I completely agree with you here. And I think that, I don't know. I was having this conversation with my wife yesterday, and we were chatting about, not to completely derail the thought here on this article, but chatting about the concept of masculinity and femininity and whatever. And she brought up a really good point, which was like, from an evolutionary perspective, like it definitely makes sense that the things that we associate with masculinity, like muscle mass and like athleticism and all these things, and that was necessary, right? Because the female's pregnant, like she's not going to be hunting a woolly mammoth, like that just doesn't make sense in terms of propagating the species, right? Like you're not going to expose the next generation of your species to like that level of risk, right?
Yeah.
So that's why pairing starts to make sense. And like, dude, I mean, this is not a new thought, right? Like, there's tons and tons of research around this. But then she was just like, but in modern society, like if people want to, be just totally androgynous, like who gives a shit? And it's like, I think we all kind of, subscribe to gender stereotypes to a certain degree, and certainly stereotypes associated with age, more so than gender, I think. And sure, why the fuck not? I mean, as long as somebody is like, for the purposes of, enlisting in the military, you've got to be 18. Okay. But that's binary. You're 18 or you're not, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got to be, there's like age of consent rules for sexual contact. Like as long as you're like tracking that and making sure, it's kind of like,
see, but that's, you kind of open up a whole nother thing that it's, which that kind of reminded me of a part in this article that he said that he was willing to renounce his right to a pension to ensure that there were no unforeseen consequences of his age change. Well, so when you really start looking at what we do as a society, that that we're looking at age, for and I'm trying to think of what would be. Well,
certainly. I mean, certainly.
Let's say
certainly.
Insurance. How about that?
Well,
it's like
certainly.
Somebody that's younger is normally going to have cheaper insurance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's like,
absolutely.
Okay, well, so do we have to, at that point, do we have to keep track of their, whatever, we'll call it an emotional age versus their birth age kind of thing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Or their biological age.
Biological age, yeah.
Their biological age versus their, whatever, like, mental age.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, honestly, because it's just, I don't know. I mean, I think that, for face value, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but I mean, shit, dude, you knock 20 years off somebody's life, and there's a big difference between a 49-year-old and a 69-year-old. Sure. But if you're an insurance company, like if somebody's changing their age legally, but you go and you run tests on somebody's body to determine how you're going to, I mean, you think about it, right? If I'm like
So this may become less relevant in an era where, God, what's the word? Not designer drugs. Yeah, I guess designer drug, like bespoke healthcare is a thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Where you're saying like, here are like, is this blank slate of shit that we can do to you, right? We can give you antibiotics, or we can give you hormones, or we can give you, there's a bank of medicine, right? That you can have access to, and then we just determine that based on, chemically what your body is doing, right? And so, you could imagine. I guess like when people are apportioning or subscribing like an insurance rate or whatever to somebody of a certain age, really they're just using that age as a proxy for like how close you are to fucking death.
Yeah,
but
you're right.
But the reality of it is there may be a 75-year-old who is biologically more healthy than a 45-year-old.
Yeah, right.
And so you could imagine that could become a thing. So I don't know. I mean, I think that I like this kind of shit because I don't know. In some ways, it used to annoy me when I was a little bit younger because it's just like, if you're born a male, like you're a male or whatever. But the older I get, I'm just kind of like, I mean, who gives a shit, man? Like, let people live and let them do their thing. And like, insofar as it's not, treading on your shit and fucking your scene up, like, what do you care? You know what I mean? And
I guess that's kind of to a degree, that's kind of what I'm saying, that it's like, well, as long as they, and by they I mean like whoever's governing this, that's governing this age change, as long as they vet what like the potential, I guess, outcomes for age changes, appropriately, right, then I'm cool with it. But it's like, I mean, that's just which obviously we're kind of thinking on our feet right now in regards to what that would affect. But it's like, I feel like it. I don't know. I mean, I would assume like, okay, coming back to the insurance thing, somebody that's born a male but identifies with females, as a female, does that matter with like insurance, like car insurance or something?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I mean, there's 100% a difference in an insurance rate for a male teen driver versus a female teen driver.
Sure. Or, and there are chemical differences in people that or I say chemical. There are differences in people's physiology that predetermine them for certain things versus other things. Yeah. Right? I mean, like, this is a fact. If a brain has more testosterone or whatever that it's subjected to, it's going to behave differently, right? Like the pathways that are formed and the way that those pathways grow and are used, it's going to be different. So I mean, I guess what I'm saying is that when we use, which by the way, I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here because I think some of this quickly gets into just fucking absurd land very quickly.
Yeah.
But if you think about using gender and age and, like demographic, I guess that would be the way to put it. If you think about using like slices of demographics, for the purposes of determining, behavior in a statistically, not even behavior, health or whatever, determining something in a statistically relevant way, all you're saying is that with a higher probability, for in your example, male drivers are more aggressive. You know what I mean? Or
they're going to be driving more statistically versus a female.
Correct. So
you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that there aren't females out there that are, long haul truckers and stuff or anything like that. But just normally, if you've got, which I don't know if I can actually make this statement and it be accurate, but it seems to me that if you have a male and a female that are riding in a car together, most of the time the male is driving.
Yeah, but I don't think this is like I agree in what you're saying is that like so sure, but I don't think that that's really when insurance companies are saying, yeah, we're going to charge more for like male drivers, like or young male drivers. That's not what they're saying. I don't think at all, actually.
Oh, well, I'm kind of talking out of my ass in regards to just like why the rates are different. I'm just,
right. But, so I think really, so I think what we're saying when we say like a 16-year-old male, and we've gotten a little off the path here, so we'll have to go back. But I think ultimately what we're saying when we say a 16-year-old male's insurance rate should be higher than a 16-year-old female, I think really what you're saying is that the risk profile is very different. Then you say, okay, why is the risk profile different? Yeah. To your point, it could be because they're driving triple the miles, right?
Yeah.
Or it could be because young males exhibit a much different level of aggression, of a propensity to be distracted. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, for sure.
These things that are
more reckless or something.
So exactly. So the risk profile is different. So what we're using is this idea, these two variables of like 16 and male, and we're using those as proxies to help us determine like this risk profile, right? And so like in this case of this guy Emil, using age as so we're saying, okay, fuck it, he can change his age, and then we're like, okay, but what does that change? And I guess what I'm saying is like, in a world that seems to be constantly like all of our models and I guess all of our like the way that we observe and measure the world and kick out some sort of decision or some sort of observation from the way that we measure the world, that seems to be like really changing as it's being multiplied by technology. So I guess my point is that if we were using age as a proxy to for health or whatever, maybe we wouldn't have to do that anymore, right? Maybe we could say, okay, you go in and you are tested, and we say, we don't give a shit what you list as your age on Tinder. Nobody fucking cares. But this is your biological age. Yeah. And based on a certain level of hormone in your body or a certain level of reproduction of cells, of cellular regeneration or whatever the fuck, right? Yeah. You are biologically this age, and this is how you will be treated for insurance purposes. You know what I mean? Yeah. So then it's like
which I'd say that's probably where we're like going with this. So,
well,
I mean, like as a society and everything.
Without a doubt. I mean, I can imagine in the very near future, very, very fucking near future. Here's a startup idea, right? Well, no, seriously. Can you imagine for insurance rates having a driver like play a certain game on a phone that helps you determine how to insure them? You know what I'm saying? Or play, play some sort of, have some sort of gamified thing that helps you understand, how they would deal with distraction and risk and what the fuck ever. Yeah. And then adding that into kind of the mix for how you insure people. Like you could imagine somebody taking like a 200 question test and that giving you like, a better indication as to how they will drive, or something like that.
Well, so, and we'll cruise after this, but, I can't remember if we covered this on Tether or if we were just kind of shooting the shit one day, but, do you remember there was an insurance company, and I believe it was John Hancock, which is apparently like a very old insurance company, that they are exploring, I guess either giving out or requiring their the people that they cover to have fitness trackers in order to give them a more accurate, I guess, like premium kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that it gives them a more accurate depiction of someone's activity level.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Yes. So I actually have some. I don't want to take us totally off the path here.
Yeah.
But I actually worked on some of that tech for Philips Healthcare.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and basically what the idea is like whether you're an insurer or a caregiver or a care provider or whatever, it would be beneficial to have what's known as a longitudinal health record.
Yeah.
Which basically means that like your view on someone's health kind of extends past, right? Like, I mean, you think about this, right? You're a fucking doctor. A doctor of pharmacy, right? And like you think about how helpful it would be if you could have like a really clear indication as to whether or not your patients were taking their medicine on time, and if they weren't, what that schedule looked like, right?
Yeah.
And then, and then because I mean, largely, unfortunately, medicine's like fucking guesswork, dude. Like, I mean,
that's why they call it a practice, right?
Right. And so you think that this medicine is going to have this effect, but if it doesn't, then what, right?
Yeah.
And so that's dude, it's interesting.
It's a shit ton of trial and error for sure, man.
Yeah, it's a brave new motherfucking world.
So we're talking about this Dutch man that wants to reduce his age legally, and but at some point he will have to die, and hopefully someone will take his place. Hopefully someone will take his place.
Oh yeah, that's exactly right. So I don't know if you guys have seen Children of Men, where there's like one chick on Earth that can get pregnant or something. Maybe I think that's actually the tagline from the movie.
It was something like, everybody's infertile, but then they found out that like this one chick was pregnant or something like that, right?
Yeah,
something along those lines.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And so
it's a really good movie if you have not seen it.
It is a good movie, and it's funny because it's not funny, but it's interesting because decline in birth rate is always like a hallmark of dystopian like fucked up cinema and crazy books, right?
Yeah.
But apparently, according to a recent study published in The Lancet, which The Lancet, I think, is a healthcare rag.
Yeah, it is. And it's actually a really well known.
Yeah.
It's up there.
So according to a recent study, there has been a massive drop in fertility rates around the world, and when I say massive, I'm saying it's been halved, right? So in 1950, women were having an average of 4.7 children, and last year that number went to 2.4. Okay, and so. They give kind of a high low. The fertility rate in Niger, West Africa, is 7.1, but on the Mediterranean island of Cyprus, women are having one child, right? And in the UK, the rate's 1.7, similar to most Western European countries. So this article says. And
just in case anybody's wondering, fur babies don't fucking count.
that's yeah, that's right.
Sorry.
And so just kind of as a fun fact here. Hang on just a second. Drop my microphone there. But as a fun fact there, when a country's population birth rate drops below 2.1. That's kind of the mark where you say, things are starting to shift, right? And now our population might be in a decline. And so this is a big deal. And they kind of go through the article talking about why people are making the decision to have less children. And so it's a super, super interesting trend. I guess my thought for you is, kind of what do you think? Like, walk us through kind of your thought process on this.
Well, so I think it's really it's not surprising in the least, because it's one of these situations that basically I know that in regards to my friends and just basically anybody that I've come across around my age, they're just not that interested in having kids. Like, you know, I cracked a joke earlier about, you know, fur babies and all that, but it's like, dude, it is a real thing. People are adopting dogs and cats, and they're having pets instead of kids, which is fine and good, but it's like, obviously at some point you know, we have to have kids. We have to have kids to perpetuate life on Earth and everything. So
right.
But yeah, so it's just, it's one of these situations of, I don't know, man. It's kind of, it's interesting to me, but it also kind of makes me think, like, you know, like you kind of said, and like they say in this article, they give a couple different like articles that you can, get to from this one about why people are choosing not to have kids.
Right.
And I mean, like, I don't know if it's, you know, it's literally everything from like global warming to, I was trying to think of, I read something the other day, and it was just like, I mean, literally somebody was saying that in order to save the planet, they said that they didn't want to have children just because obviously having children, you know, they're going to, create waste. And the planet, you know, we're already overrun with waste if you're looking at the mainstream media. But something else that was kind of actually interesting, just as a side note, and this was actually on No Agenda, I believe. They were talking about how the waste produced from animals that people have it's astronomical. It's like crazy how much like dog and cat, you know, feces that, and it causes all of this, the degradation of that causes all of this, like, whatever, CO2 accumulation kind of thing.
Right.
And people don't think about that, but it's, you know, I'm not that I'm like a proponent for like not having an animal or anything like that. I think that most of that shit's sensationalized, and I don't think it really fucking matters. But
so I'm curious though. Yeah. So just to thank you for that for kind of walking through that. But I'm curious, like, so you guys, your family, you have started to have a family, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And does
I haven't started. I have a family now.
No. But I mean, I'm saying you have a growing family.
Yes,
I guess is what I mean. So, yes. and you know, you guys, you may have more, you may not. You know, who knows? But I think that it's interesting to kind of get into because I think that, like, depending on how you see, you know, how you depending on your worldview, whether or not you have children, I would say, I don't want to say religiosity or whatever the word would be, but like your religious kind of persuasion or whatever, depending on that, depending on your worldview, depending on your socioeconomic status, like these things come in and they influence people, you know, in kind of how they think about the world and the world around them, you know? And so, it's interesting because, you know, for years and years and years, and this is true even in this study, right? Like places where that have a lower socioeconomic, kind of a lower socioeconomic, status, right? Or lower socioeconomic kind of, you know, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, bar, whatever. They're poor areas. Let's just put a fine point on it. You see these birth rates that are just extraordinarily high, right? And you know, we've seen that throughout history with human beings, where it's like, and again, these things are correlated. This is not causation. This is correlation that I'm discussing here. But you see like lower education, less access to education, less access to, the certain types of healthcare, less access to a number of things. And then you see
contraception, man.
Contraception, yeah, exactly. And so you see these birth rates be massively high. And so it's like, you could probably over-rationalize to the point where the species becomes fucking extinct, right? And so if you look at, I just want to point this out here, if you look at like where women are having the most children, right? Mm-hmm. Niger, Chad, Somalia, Mali, Afghanistan, South Sudan, Burkina Faso, Burundi, Uganda, Angola. Mm-hmm. That is the fucking list, dude. Right?
Yeah.
Where women are having the least children. Taiwan, South Korea, Andorra, Puerto Rico, that one's interesting. Thailand, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Poland, Moldova, Japan. So it's just I think that's the thing that to me is really fascinating, right? Like people, because of the medicine that we have access to in Western society, and I guess for lack of a way better term, in the first world, in first world economies, people are concentrating on career. They're concentrating on, kind of getting a foundation before they start having children. They're having children later. They can have children later because of technology, right?
Yeah.
And then you're still. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Well, I was just going to say to your point about focusing on career and stuff like that. I think that was actually. I think that actually plays a pretty substantial role because, once you got, I would say probably starting in maybe like the 60s, maybe late 60s, early 70s or something, that you had like, a real push for like feminism and just like, women mainly focusing on their career versus raising a family. And I'm not blaming women or anything. I'm just saying that obviously with that paradigm shift.
Sounds like to me you are. You fuck.
No, but with that paradigm shift, it's just, dude, it gets restructured. And so, when hell, dude, case in point, my family, Megan is the one that is the breadwinner, we'll say. And so it's one of these situations of she was the one that focused, on her career. Well, if I didn't, think that a family was as important as I do, then maybe I would be, having a full-time career kind of thing, and we wouldn't have any kids, So it's just, I think that it's just kind of, it's interesting to watch society shift like this. Because do I think that the United States is going to implode because our birth rate or our fertility rate has dropped to this point? No, I don't. And so it's just I don't know. But it's very it's very fascinating to me to see this happen. So
yeah. I would say that if we looked back, there are ebb and flows, in fertility rates and the success of propagation or whatever. Yeah. But it's going to be, I don't know, man. I think that we are just living in really cool and interesting times because the nature of what has, this is a fucking leap, but it was just something that I was thinking about as we were reviewing these articles. The nature of what has gotten humanity to current, right, is not what is going to be necessary for the next, human beings have been around for how long? I don't know, hundreds of thousands of years, right? And so what has propelled humanity to this point will not be what will propel humanity in the next so many years, right?
Yeah.
And so I just think that that's interesting because like why, for example, has it been so important for us to make sure that we propagate? Well, it's important for us to make sure we fucking propagate because we die, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is kind of absurd, but if you think about it just from a very basic sense, well, so what if we don't? Like, what if you're like living for 200 years, right? By the way, length of modern human existence is 200,000 years. Civilization, as we know, is 6,000 years old. Fucking thousand years old. That's nothing.
Yeah.
Like people living to 100. I mean, and that's when people were living to like fucking 30 was old.
Yeah.
Right. And like now people are. It's not crazy that people are getting to 70 and 80 years old, right? Like, and in the not too distant future, if you're 100, like think about how unbelievably wild that is. 100 years, that means 60 people, 60 generations, right? Living to 100 years is 6,000 years. That's not that many within the context of billions of years of like geologic evolution to get the world to where it is, right?
Yeah, totally.
So my point is that I dig studies like this because like fuck yeah, I want to know this. It's really important and it's really interesting. But past that, it's like I mean, we may be approaching a time where the metric of success of the human species is not how many people you are propagating and is it growing. You know what I mean? Like it literally might be like that makes sense when you're in a stage where you need to grow, right? Like you're in a stage where you need to have 15 kids because fucking 3 of them are gonna, or 6 of them are gonna die in between the ages of 0 and 4, and then the other 9, 3 are going to die in battle, and 2 are gonna, 2 are going to die at sea or whatever.
And then a dingo is going to get one.
And there's a dingo that's going to rip the ass into one of them. And so that was important when we're kind of like in this competitive. I guess this is the way to put it in a nutshell. That those numbers are important when you are in competition with the world around you. Well, what happens when you're not in competition with the world around you anymore? What happens when, for the most part, you've been able to like tame that shit? And what I mean by that is like we're not going to bed with a boil on our neck and just not waking up. Like that's rare, right?
Yeah.
And so what happens when that metric changes? And I think that's the thing that for this article that was like blowing me away is because I was like thinking like, well, fuck, it matters now, or it used to matter, but what about when it matters less? Well, when you put people on, which hopefully we'll get to see this in our lifetime, Daniel.
Yeah.
But when we start putting people on spaceships and sending them to Mars, right, and having like a colony of people on Mars, it sounds absurd, but SpaceX is working their ass off to make it happen. Yeah. Then it may matter, right? Because accidents then become huge, and malnutrition is like a thing that's being dealt with, and like people are figuring out how to live in space, and then it's like, fuck yeah, people need to have 10 kids. But here on Earth, where stasis and balance has become more important, maybe that's not the case. Maybe a birth rate of, a staggered birth rate of, 2 in one year and 1 in another and none in some generations is like actually, the healthy balance for stasis. So anyway, I dug this, and I appreciated you finding this. So
man.
So moving on here.
Yeah.
Bananas political shit going on in the United States. The midterms were recently, or excuse me, not the midterms. The elections.
Midterm elections.
Yes. Why did I just get confused there?
I don't know.
Sure. Right. I'm sorry. I was thinking not midterms. I said midterms, but I was actually thinking about the What the fuck is the voting that happens before the election? I'm drawing a total blank.
Preliminary?
Nah, but it's not preliminary.
Or
what's it?
No, it's oh my God. Yeah, I don't know. We'll come back to it. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So
primaries.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I said midterms, and I was thinking primaries, so I corrected myself. But yeah, the midterm elections were recent, and we didn't quite see the blue wave that was predicted, but there were definitely some interesting mix-ups. We still have Stacey Abrams and drawing a blank on his Jeff Kemp, maybe.
Down in Georgia.
Yeah, in Georgia, that are actually still counting. Similar situation in Florida, and I think a similar situation in Arizona. And so I guess all of that is to say that the political scene is pretty wild right now. And so this article is talking about a conservative political commentator that's been getting some heat, man. So what's the deal here?
Yeah, so I actually and I just realized, I pulled this from SFGate, so San Francisco Gate .com, and I wasn't that familiar with this news outlet, I guess, but apparently, basically, almost verbatim, this was taken from the Washington Post, which they do credit it. So, but I kind of wanted to. I actually read the original Washington Post article also, but anyway. So Tucker Carlson, who is a well-known definitely right-wing political commentator or analyst, he you all right?
Yeah, that was my. Oh my God, that was so stupid, dude. That was it. That was a big. So I take notes through these things, right?
Yeah.
And that was my.
You knocked over your pencil holder.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a robot, and my guts just fell out. No, I knocked over my fucking pencil holder. What a nerdy thing, dude. Oh, I've got jelly on my keyboard and my pencils are everywhere.
I got honey all over my knees.
Oh, God.
Slow children, fast animals.
That's exactly right. All right, onward and upward. Go ahead.
Anyway,
Tucker Carlson.
So Tucker Carlson, apparently some left-wing protesters decided to show up at his home and, for lack of a better word, I guess, harass whoever was in his home. Which Tucker Carlson apparently has 4 children. They were not there, but his wife was in the.
This is a little more gnarly than that, though. You're saying left wing, like this is.
And so this
is some gnarly shit. I mean, this is like, go ahead.
Far left. How about that? But like radically left,
right?
It was this organization called Smash Racism DC, which apparently is a local anti-fascist.
Sounds legit.
Yeah, right. It's a local anti-fascist organization, and according to the article, their members have been tied to other demonstrations against prominent Republican figures, in which like activists would show up, and basically kind of harangue and harass these people at like, according to this, at like restaurants and stuff like that.
Okay.
But anyway, so they found out where Tucker Carlson lived, and a group of them actually showed up over there, and basically his wife was in the kitchen, and they start banging on the front door, and it was intense enough to the point to where she called 911 and locked herself in their pantry because she thought that it was a home invasion.
Okay.
And so she calls 911, talks to them. They dispatch police out there. Upon like getting there, they I think there were they said about 20 people had gathered outside of his house, and they had banged on the door to the point to where the door was actually cracked. Like someone was actually running into the door and trying to I don't know if they were literally trying to break into the home or if they were just trying to cause a ruckus kind of thing.
Okay.
But then they started chanting. Apparently they took videos of all this, which they've been pulled down at this point. But they had somebody. Let's see, because I want to quote what they were like. They started chanting, and they were like, "Tucker Carlson, we will fight. We know where you sleep at night." Which that's pretty fucking daunting in my opinion, especially considering it's like. If you have a problem with where the United States is politically right now, this is not the fucking way to address it. As we've talked about this, multiple times. I don't give a shit, left, right, whatever. I mean, dude, get out and vote. Go support, who you see to better the United States. But dude, harassing political figures or hell, political analysts. Just it doesn't make any sense, and it's not gonna. The only thing it's gonna do is fucking land your ass in jail potentially.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of disagree because this is how I handle if I show up at a fast food restaurant for fourth meal. And for my fourth meal, and I find out
fourth meal we will fight.
And yeah, and that's exactly right. I say fourth meal we will fight, 2 burritos and a Sprite. And I expect them to fucking deliver, dude, or I will be kicking that motherfucking
2 burritos and a Sprite.
Yeah, because
lots of cheese, wrap them tight.
Yeah, don't forget to wrap them tight. Exactly right.
But anyway, so they show up. About 20 people were there.
I really need my fourth meal bite. I just keep going, dude. Just keep going.
They're like, dude, that fucking crazy motherfucker's out here again.
After I eat, my pants will be tight. I just keep going, and they're just like, God damn, how many things rhyme with "ite"?
Yeah, right.
Son of a bitch. Anyway,
but yeah, so they showed up out there. When the police showed up, they said that that the protesters had blocked off both ends of his street. And they were carrying signs that had his street address on it.
Yeah, man, this doxing thing is fucking bullshit. I understand. You know the term doxing?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's just like giving personal information out to the masses kind of thing.
Yeah, and I guess go ahead though. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No. It's just it's one of these things that according to the article, they even had on one of the videos you could hear a woman saying something about she wanted to bring a pipe bomb to the house, which obviously is referring back to the Caesar Sayoc shenanigans of him sending all these fucking pipe bombs to prominent Democrat figures or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, it's just completely uncalled for, completely inappropriate, and
So what's your hot take, bro? What's your take though? Because here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with I don't think that I can define what political action means for somebody else, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'm just trying to kind of work through this here, but so meaning that if you want to get out and doxing, I said doxing is bullshit, but it's not illegal right now, right?
Yeah.
And the other side of the coin is that people hiding behind the anonymity of the internet, I also think is bullshit, right? Like if you have something and a position and you feel really strongly about it, come out and say it. Like that's fine, right? Now that being said, those are just my personal opinions, and like I said, I can't define what political action looks like or feels like for somebody else, right?
Yeah.
So the reason that I'm saying this is like I think it's complicated because Tucker Carlson is he's a conservative dude. He's on Fox News. He looks like a fucking square nuts. I mean, you look at this guy. Yeah. Like the word dweeb is definitely,
comes to mind.
Yeah, well, because I remember when he was young, I was actually kind of into Tucker Carlson when he first started up, and actually this was like when I was in college, and I was like, I was not at all like, I've always been, I think, fairly kind of a centrist for the most part, like libertarian tendencies, conservative, small government kind of policy, socially very liberal. Like that's kind of how I've kind of looked at the world. But I really enjoyed Tucker Carlson because, as I recall, when he first got on the air, he was pretty fresh. He's not so much anymore. He's like now this like turgid looking, fucking like
turgid.
Well, he just looks like a frat boy that just has like continued to drink Natty Light. Like he just looks puffy, weird. Yeah. He looks unhealthy, I guess. But my point is that's these ad hominem attacks on Tucker Carlson. I gotta stop that shit. But he's a conservative political commentator. He's on Fox News. He says shit that pisses people off. Like to think that there's not going to be a reaction is silly. There are repercussions for the things that you say. However, this kind of shit, like camping out, like,
there's just no
honestly camping outside of somebody's house, right?
Well, and that's where I'm like, it's like, okay, dude, go if you fucking have a problem. Go to like fucking the Fox News headquarters and protest there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or something along those lines. When you take it from, because I don't give a shit what it is, but when you take it from, because I mean he does this as his job. I'm sure obviously these are his beliefs also, but like when you take it from the to a personal level kind of thing. That it's like you're going to someone's home residence, kind of thing, to address something. I mean, in my opinion, that's where the political action becomes inappropriate.
So so why do you think? So this is not uncommon, right? Like this is the latest occurrence, but. Yeah.
Oh, you hear all the, I mean, fuck, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, was like run out of a restaurant and like, I was trying to think of who the other person.
A couple of other people.
Definitely, a couple other, yeah. And I mean, like,
it's not unique to conservatives. Like I'm sure we could dig up some shit and we could find where this has happened to some liberal folks. But what I would say is that you definitely hear it happening on a I think on a more frequent basis with conservative politicians and conservative personalities. But what I'm curious about, and I'm curious in your opinion on this, is why do you think that we have gotten to a point where this is not appropriate? Because I think most people would be like, "What the fuck?" Like people,
but it's accepted.
Most people are reasonable. I really do believe that. Like the vast majority of human beings are reasonable players.
Well, what we're seeing is the vocal minority, dude.
Well, what you're seeing, yeah, exactly. What you're seeing is like, these are kind of long end of the tail folks, right? Like they're definitely not in the center here. But I'm curious as to why you think that, like if I felt really strongly about Tucker Carlson, I gave a fuck and I wanted him to know about it. Yeah. Why would this be the direction that I take? Like, this just doesn't seem like the goal I guess let me rephrase this.
Well, like what did they think that they would achieve from this?
Yeah, what's your goal, right? Because this does not seem like that you are trying to make a political point, right? This is like it's
like fear mongering almost.
Well, yeah, but it is violent threats.
Yeah,
like the threat of violence, and using like physical intimidation, which by the way is a sub theme in most things for sure. And the way that we get away with this is because we mask this shit in like, political posturing and like what the fuck ever. But there's definitely like the theme of, there's a theme like in the theme of dominance, right?
Yeah.
There is a subtext of like potential physical violence for sure. I mean, even when your boss is like fucking do it or whatever, right? Like, he's not saying I'm going to beat your ass, but there's definitely like a sub context of like, oh shit, like, posturing, puffing a chest out and being like wagging a finger and things like this. Like they,
what is he going to do if I don't?
Right. And it's I'm not even saying it's a suggestion. I'm just saying like, that's how the human mind works, is that like, oh shit, like this might escalate. Let me put it that way. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know what escalation means, but this might escalate. And so it's like getting on a talk show and having like a heated debate, or getting on a news channel and having a heated debate, and you can posture and you can use sharp words and you can use wit to kind of get through. But like going to somebody's house and being like, stop or I'm gonna fuck you up.
Yeah,
it's like I just don't. That is the antithesis in my mind of what makes democracy function, right?
Yeah.
And like it's just, I think that is infinitely interesting because there's I don't know, we'll have to see. This is another conversation for another day. But AOC just got was elected, who's like really do you know who I'm talking about?
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Right. She just got elected. She's like a really compelling personality, super young, very what's the word? She is young and she is a very fresh take, I think, on what a politician could look like. You know what I mean? And I'm saying what a politician could look like and sound like. I don't agree with a fucking goddamn anything that she says, but I think it's really important for us to kind of continuously reevaluate what our politicians look like and how they sound and whatever. I just think it's important. And so she is like, towing this line on socialism and communism and all this kind of stuff. And so, it's just interesting to think about. And I think those views are important too. And in a democracy, like, you've got to welcome these views to really tease out kind of what the best direction for the country is. My point is, and I'll sum it up with this. My point is that having this like degradation of discourse is just generally not good for anyone that's involved. Right. And that's the thing, and that's where I think that I would that makes me kind of cautions. I think provides like a little kind of cautionary tale there, but anyway. Okay, so moving on here. Let's see where I'm lost here on this next article. Okay, cord cutting. Cord cutting accelerates as pay TV loses 1 million customers. Walk us through this.
Yeah. So yeah, dude, the cord cutting stuff, which it's really,
rehash what that means. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, cord cutting, if you're not familiar with it, basically has been, people's move from having either a satellite subscription or, a cable subscription, cable TV. And, it's gotten to the point to where, or I guess internet speeds and streaming services have picked up all of these channels, and it's basically they offer a little bit more of a curated package for people, as opposed to say like Comcast and their basic cable being like, oh, 100 channels for $40 a month or whatever, and then you add some internet in there, whatever. But people are just like, oh, well, fuck this shit. I'm gonna do a really solid internet speed,
right?
And then I'm just gonna do stream. I'm just gonna stream my shows, Netflix, whatever, Hulu, HBO Go, all that stuff. But people were thinking that the cord cutting was actually going to decelerate, and that is not the case in the least. Cable and satellite TV providers lost 1.1 million subscribers during the July to September period, and this is the largest quarterly loss ever. So they're kind of scrambling at this point. But you get down into this article, and it's really, really funny, because what it does for me is it makes me think, or it totally brings to mind the whole Uber and Lyft versus taxis.
Right.
That it's like, oh, at first it was this new thing, but slowly it's being brought back to the center. AKA, we're basically headed right back to like the cable packages and stuff,
right?
But with streaming services,
right?
And when you really get into this article, and realize who owns what, like for instance, let's see, slowing growth for DirecTV now and let's see who owns Sling, because wasn't it? It's either DirecTV or AT&T. I can't.
Yeah,
remember.
I think Sling is Dish Network.
Or yeah, maybe I think that actually does sound right.
Yeah.
But the point is it's kind of I mean they're getting your money one way or another kind of thing.
Right.
Is kind of what I'm getting around to. And if you don't think that if Dish Network, what would you say, Dish Network?
Dish Network. Yeah.
So if you don't think that Dish Network is just basically trying to figure out how to restructure Sling to basically be closer to what Dish is, right? Then you've got another thing coming, kind of thing, right? Because it's just, I mean, dude, that's how these companies work, and that's why I believe it was last week we were talking about how there was or maybe a couple weeks ago, but how there's been a new surge in torrent use and pirating movies and shows and all that stuff, because that's what, all of these streaming services have decided to split up. And so in order to have all the shows that you used to have access to, you're paying just as much as whether, what you would pay if you got a cable package.
Yeah. And like, here's the deal, man. Whether you, no matter how you feel about the cable companies, they're doing their shit like this because it works.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
That's
exactly.
It,
Yeah. I mean, they get results, man. So that's why they do it.
That's exactly right.
But it was kind of interesting to me that I mean, like this was just an interesting article because it kind of, even though they, they're posting these quarterly losses, once you get down into the meat and potatoes of the article kind of thing, right? That basically people are just moving to a different service kind of thing. It's not really. I mean, I guess it's cord cutting, but it's kind of, they're basically just getting the same thing from a different.
Well, it's not, dude.
Same,
it's like, listen, like these fucking people, man, like they charge like this because it works.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the reality of it. Like, I mean, it is. like when you call in to, your shitty cable company and you're like, what the hell do I pay you $189 for? And they're like, please hold. And you're like on hold some shitty call center and your service sucks ass and whatever. Like this is not, these people are not dumb, right? Like they figure out the absolute minimal amount of service, of attention that they have to give you to have you just
keep you retained.
They don't give a fuck if you're pissed. They just don't want you to cancel.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're mad. And so what they do, this is incredibly it's really fucking smart, but it's also unbelievably annoying, is they just make it such a challenge to step out of their system. Yeah. Right. And so it's like you've got to like take a fucking day off from work and drop the modem off and do the thing and like and so it's like
they're gonna come to your house between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m.
Yeah, man. And it's just or you could not drop the modem off, but you're charged $700. You know what I mean, or whatever. Like it's just it's absurd. But so I mean, this is like, but that type of customer engagement design or kind of design to minimize churn. I mean, this is shit just for fun, by the way, and we're gonna move on here to the home stretch. But just for fun, this is shit that like Lockheed Martin even does, right? Like dig this, right? So I wrapped up a graduate degree at SC last year, and this was like a case study that we dove into pretty hard. So jet companies, like defense companies, right? What they will do, their contracts with the government are billions, and in some cases maybe even close to $1 trillion, maybe even $1 trillion, right? Massive multi-year contracts. And so what they will do is they will design the flight systems in jets in particular, and I'm sure this happens with other vehicles that they design, or even other systems that they design. Like I know that Cerner and Epic, which you've heard of those probably because those are two participants in healthcare, right? Yeah. But Cerner and Epic do the same shit with data management and healthcare. And so basically the deal is they'll design their systems such that they are complicated to learn, right? And that you have to layer even the you have to kind of clearly formulate and layer even the training that it takes for people to even use these systems. So like if you think about like a flight system, like when you're at the Naval Academy or whatever, you're using a simulator, and that simulator has to be built to replicate a flight system, a specific flight system. So what these guys will do is they'll take these multi-billion-dollar contracts, and they'll build this pipeline that feeds up to use their equipment. And so the pipeline is so fucking complicated and so fucking expensive, it ends up being this unbelievable competitive advantage, because even if you did want to change what you were doing, and it's not about just not having this contract with them anymore. Now it's about like literally changing the entire pipeline of pilots and how they train to be able to use this tech, right? Yeah. So and like that's an extreme example, but that's what these motherfuckers do 100%, right? They just say it's complicated and like we bundle you up and here are the reasons that you should be bundled and blah 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 blah. But then for you to step out of it, it's just it's insane. So if you don't think that Netflix is doing the same thing, you're wrong. As a matter of fact, one of my buddies just switched to a Google not a Google phone number, but a Google cell phone plan, which I don't know if this is common across the U.S., but it is in Los Angeles. And that's what he does. And basically they buy from local carriers bandwidth, right?
Yeah. So I actually, and it's really funny that you'd bring that up, because one of the people I was hanging out with last night, one of my friends from pharmacy school, has one of the Google phones. And that it has to be like an unlocked device, because basically Google checks to see who you're going to get the best service from wherever you are, and then it uses those towers.
It's fucking crazy, dude. Kind of thing.
Super which crazy. Is, I mean, it's ingenious, but I mean, it's just, and because she's like, she told me last night, she was like, man, It's the best cell service that I've had since I've had a cell phone, kind of thing.
Right.
But just kind of interesting. But
okay,
but anyway.
so Roadhead. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Who, you know, I think I don't even know that Roadhead is like a thing in 2018, but in the 90s, it was fucking all the rage.
Dude, weren't we going to I thought we were going to a track meet, and this dude, like, going down
you
fucking...
told me the story on this. Fucking absurd.
Yeah, and on Interstate, this dude is just, you know, for lack of a better, you know, his literally... his whatever significant other, or I don't know what she was, had her feet out the window and was laid down with her head in his lap, or her head in his lap. Yeah.
So
and
that's
like, it was just, yeah, sorry. Anyway, derailed.
I mean, dude, yeah, like relationship goals, you know what I mean? Like for sure. But and I'm kidding. That was really crass, my Roadhead comment there, but whatever. So British researchers, British academics, as this article says, in a paper that was published by some University of Surrey and Oxford British academics, they suggest that the pay per hour hotel rooms that people use for the sex trade are likely to transition over to autonomous vehicles. This future that we're hurtling towards, God, we cannot get there soon enough. You know, everybody's having like 0 kids and like fucking cyborgs. You know what I mean? And then
I need like, your best woman. I'm gonna pull up in a red Astrovan.
Yeah, I mean, dude, this is it. This is it. Literally, there is a cyborg driving a red Astrovan. You get in the van. You're 39, right? You bang a robot. You decide to change your age to 19 by the time you get out. You get dropped off just in time to give Tucker Carlson a fucking piece of your mind, right? Like, I mean, you know, and while you're, you know, mid coitus with this fucking robot, because there are no emotions here and it doesn't matter, and you're just trying to get your future rocks off, you're doxing your boss. You know what I mean? Like. And you're
welcome to the future.
Welcome to the shit future, right? And like, and you know, right? Like, and then after you dox your boss, you're amazing. You know, you're you know, gawking at the last human women that are around, how they have somehow fit so many, you know, fucking ass implants in that they can't walk through doorways, like, from, you know, like, it's just fucking good God, man. But anyway, man, yeah. So next week I got to bring up Tekashi 6ix9ine. You know this guy, the rapper.
I don't think so.
I'm gonna split your fucking gourd wide open with some of these like celebrities that are coming out. I mean, it's like. Dude, not to be like an absolute old man, because I love this shit. I love hip hop, and like there are certain hip hop artists that even today that I fucking love, even though I'm like can't really relate because I'm in my 30s or whatever. Yeah. Like Uzi Vert and Lil Pump and who the fuck else, you know, whatever. But I like to listen to this shit and hear this shit because it's, you know, it's interesting to kind of think about, you know, what pop culture is doing. But dude, some of these people are going to blow your mind. They're like cartoon characters. They're like comic book people or something. Yeah. And it's like one of these things where you're like, God damn, like, are we already in a place where like algorithms are generating, you know, like, have you ever seen like those articles that are like AI like painted this picture, you know, that we ask AI to like paint a picture of a dream, and they paint this picture of it's like a fucking big mouth on a caterpillar who's like, you know, got like a, you know, is praying to a cross or whatever. You're just like, what the fuck is it? And it's just like AI trying to figure shit out. It's like AI is like been tasked with putting together celebrities, right? And we've like moved directly. So anyway, we'll have to talk about that next week. But thank you so much for spending yet another hour and a half of your time here with Tether Radio. We love y'all, and it's great to have you around, and we appreciate it. But what we like even more is when you tell us what you liked, what you didn't like. General commentary is welcomed. We've got a couple of special little holiday episodes that we will be pushing out. And so we are currently taking suggestions for conspiracy theories that we should cover. We've been talking about this since summer. Yeah. But we've got a banging episode that's coming up on that here in the near future. So drop us a line, tetherradio@gmail.com. That's TETHERRADIO@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at Tether_radio. At Tether_radio. Not Twitter radio. At Tether_radio. You can find us on Instagram at Tether_radio, the same as our Twitter handle. And on Facebook, Tether Radio, all one word. This has been episode 23 of Tether Radio. And we appreciate having you here for this journey. So this is Joseph.
And I'm Daniel.
And we are reminding you to stay tethered, dear friends. We will talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Have a great week, guys, and see you next week.